Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner and I have a very special guest in the corner who some of you actually have his CDs because we recently did a giveaway with them. Would you like to introduce yourself to the masses?
Hello, I'm Pete Ellison, aka Initial P from Disco Warp Music.
And just so you're aware, we had on January 3rd, we had a contest going on where we gave away a lot of CDs, and the top two people got a copy of two of your CDs.
Oh, great, the Anime Love Hardcore CDs.
Yes.
Ah, that's fantastic.
So,
Excellent.
so they're familiar with you and they know about your work, and we've been playing it on the station. So,
Oh,
uh,
that's great.
very excited to finally get a chance to talk with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, for the listeners out there who, possibly might not be familiar with either the contest or, about your background, how did you initially get into DJing? Because it's not something that a lot of people are just like, I am going to do this and it's going to be easy.
Right. Actually, well, I come from Portland, Oregon. That's my hometown, and there's actually a city ordinance in Portland that if you live within the city limits, you have to be a DJ. You move there and they just hand you headphones and a copy of Serato, and they're like, okay, started DJ night. No, seriously, everyone in Portland is a DJ. It's just part of the culture there. There's actually, have you seen the TV show Portlandia? Have you ever watched that show?
I haven't. When it comes to TV, I'm really bad because I don't even have cable hooked up in
It's
my
okay.
room.
I'll send you a link when we're done to this video. There's a sketch on the show where every store they go into, the people are like, "Come to my DJ night," and it's literally like that there. Everyone's a DJ in Portland. So yeah, just I've been DJing since I was a teenager, and in 2005 I founded Disco Warp label just to make happy hardcore and Eurobeat music, to make really fast dance music. And since then, now we're coming up on 8 years here. Anniversary in May 5th will be Disco Orb's eighth anniversary. And we've done probably our most famous song, the one people will know, not anime related, would be "Oh Oh Oh Sexy Vampire" by Fright Ranger. It was a big hit that we wrote and produced, and it's had about 6 million views on YouTube. So a lot of people know that one. And we've had some songs in Dance Dance Revolution and Pump It Up Pro 2 video games. So just been working hard at it since 2005.
I'm kind of curious which DDRs,
Yeah,
you've worked on because with Dance Dance Revolution every morning for about 30 minutes to an hour, I have like a stack of like 5 to 6 of them, and I just
you
play
just
one of
rotate
them.
through.
Yeah, I literally just rotate through and just do cardio every morning.
That's great. All of the Xbox 360 ones have songs of mine in them.
Dang it.
I know, those are
That's
the
the one
only.
console I don't have.
I don't have it either. I even have the games. They sent me copies of them, and they're just sitting here in a box looking pretty. So I can't play them. So
Sad face.
I know, very sad.
Like if it was Wii or PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 2 or even PlayStation 1, any of those would work.
Mm.
Or ColecoVision, even though I know there's not a DDR for ColecoVision.
Wouldn't it be great if there was though? Just be
That
all
would be
chip tune music and
a retro style DDR. That needs to happen now.
maybe you could use the power. Was it the power pad on the Nintendo?
I think so.
Had
Or better
had the
yet,
aerobics game
the power pad and the power glove together.
together. You could kick and punch.
That would be
Dance.
a horrible, horrible mess. I can imagine it now.
I'm sure someone's out there programming it right now as we speak.
No. Well, interestingly enough, Konami did just release a classroom edition of DDR.
Really?
Yeah, we saw it at the Consumer Electronics Show, and I think it's 48 people can play at the same time.
Oh,
It's really interesting to see them pushing it for classrooms. So I think that
is is
yes,
it just like on a giant projector screen or something, or how can everybody see it at the same time?
I think it's supposed to be on a projector normally. They had it
Yeah.
on a huge screen because it was the Consumer Electronics Show.
Mhm.
But I know that all the data is sent to the teacher, so the teacher can see who is actually doing it and who isn't.
You have too many goods. Yell at you for slacking off. That's great. I imagine that in like some Thunderdome style like arena like have you seen the 80s movie The Wizard with Fred
Yes,
Savage where he goes to the Nintendo tournament and Super Mario 3 is on the giant screen? I
I, s-
imagine it like that.
I seriously just watched that movie like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, it's so good.
I love the scene at the end where they're just going through there's this universal tram and they're like going over on top of people and the people in the tram are helping the kids get away from the grown-ups.
Uh-huh,
And it
uh-huh.
makes no sense.
It doesn't, the whole movie doesn't make any sense. I also like that Christian Slater is in it for no reason. I mean, you could remove his entire character from the film and it would have no bearing on the plot whatsoever.
I don't know, that's just a good movie in
It's
general. For its cheese factor.
it's great. I agree. If you haven't seen The Wizard, do it.
I love how easily we got distracted. We're so good at this.
I'm really good at derailing conversation.
Well, one of the things I really wanted to ask is because, with Disco Warp, one of the things that you've been doing is getting people from, who speak both English and Japanese to sing a lot of the songs. Now, was that something you always wanted to do, or did it kind of flop in your lap, or what happened there?
Um, that's something that was a challenge at first to get started, and now I'd say it's getting easier. At first, all of the people that you hear singing on our original songs, for the most part, are just my friends. And that's just kind of how my art and my music works. It's kind of always been that way for me. If you hang around me long enough, you'll eventually just get sucked into whatever project I'm working on. It's like, hey, you, come sing this, like, or be in this film I'm making or something. Um, but out of that pool of people, I didn't have anybody that could sing in Japanese. And so when I decided that I wanted to make Anime Love Hardcore 1, and I kind of picked the songs that I thought we wanted to cover and got the licensing and everything. And just this, it was a big hurdle to figure out who was actually, going to sing on it. So I'm trying to remember. Okay, the first thing that happened was I put an ad on Craigslist, literally like just in the, I think it was in the musician section, and I just said, doing this project, I need vocalists to sing native Japanese speakers, preferably for this anime covers project. And a guy wrote me and said he and his friends did Japanese karaoke all the time, and he just sent me MP3 recordings of all of his friends singing karaoke.
Well, when you
And
sing karaoke, you're supposed to sound bad.
yeah, but it was funny, and one of those was Yosuke, who actually like I liked his voice, and I contacted him, and he had been living in Portland from Japan. He'd only been in Portland for about 6 months, and I wrote him and I said, do you want to do this? And he was like, yeah, it's great. So he literally just came over to my house, like we hadn't met or anything, and I'd sent him the songs that I wanted to record, and he liked them, and he just came over and recorded them, and I gave him some money and we took some pictures and then he left and that was it.
And you never heard from him again.
He did come back. We had like a DJ event in Portland about 6 months after the album came out, and he did come to that and hang out with us. And he was just a sweet guy. He was totally cool. And then when it came time to do the second Anime Live Hardcore, I wrote him again and I said, I'd love to have you participate again. And he had to go back to Japan, sadly, so he wasn't available. But the other two singers that are on that first album, Diana Garnett and Toki, both were anime convention karaoke contest winners. That my friend James, who's Radio Gosha, he's the guy who does our animated music videos. He knew them, so he pointed me in their direction, and they were into the project, and it just kind of all worked out. So. And then I want to say when we did Anime Live Hardcore 2, uh, when sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. When the first album came out, Anime News Network had done a story about it. And so a lot of blogs picked it up. And then at that point, a few other people approached me and said, hey, I read that you were having trouble finding Japanese singers. I can do this. Do you want to work with me? And so I got a few more vocalists that way, one of whom is the very awesome Christina V.
Yeah,
Yes, who
very
is
popular on YouTube.
very popular on YouTube, and she's darling. I really enjoy working with her a lot. She likes to keep me on my toes. I will say she I kind of like let her pick what song she wants to cover, and I tell you, she's trying to kill me. I think some of them are really difficult.
Well, I believe she did Still Doll, and I would just imagine that would be really difficult.
That one, yeah, it was insane. I love that song. I love how it turned out. But at first, when she sent it, I thought, well, it's in like a waltz time signature. I don't know how we're gonna make this into dance music, but it worked out. The end result is one of my favorites on the album.
Well, I think the source material is really good too, because Canon Wakashima does like amazing and interesting things with just the instruments she uses in her voice. So,
Completely.
yeah, to see it adapted is really intriguing.
Yeah, that was a fun one. The original song is great. It's totally catchy, and she's very talented and kind of I liked the kind of creepy vibe of the song. I enjoyed doing that a lot. So it wasn't just happy bouncy kawaii moe
Moe moe desu.
moe moe this. It was nice to do something different. So
Well, I think there's a little bit more of that and anime love hardcore too. You know,
mhm.
like just communication to me isn't moe moe desu.
No, no, not at all. No,
I suppose lonely and gorgeous for some people is, or but not for me. And red for action definitely isn't.
no, definitely not. Yeah, I agree. It's a little more. There's some darker stuff on that one. So.
Well, was it interesting to work with like more of a rocky feel for some of those songs?
Yeah, I'd never really done that. I guess when I'm writing songs or I'm just kind of picking them, I have a tendency to kind of go for the sugary, cutesy sort of stuff. And with this second one, I kind of had some songs I wanted to do, but I let the vocalist sort of pick, or I had a big short list of possibilities, and then just let them pick the ones they wanted to do. And yeah, Annie Rock is a trio from Japan who features on Anime Love Hardcore too, and they have a very rock style of vocal that I wasn't used to working with, and I think it turned out great, especially the Ready Steady Go cover. It was really fun to work with those vocals, so I hope I get to do something with them again soon.
Awesome. Well, if people out there have, heard any samples from the CDs, is there a place where they can pick them up?
Yes, just go to discowarp.com. That's disco with a K, so DISKOWARP.com. And you can see all our releases there, and it will link to our shop page from there. It's also in iTunes if you just look for Anime Love Hardcore.
Awesome. And for all the listeners out there, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to ask about your latest project. So keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't. Hey, everybody out there, you're still tuned to 91.8 The Fan because if you weren't, I would be a sad panda. And I don't want to be
Oh,
a panda because I would be fat and I would be black and white.
oh, sad.
I don't want to be a fat panda
Mm,
or a sad
that
fat panda.
hurts.
None of those things sound appealing to me. Anyway, you're still alive.
Me?
Yes, we didn't hurt you. We didn't kill
No,
you.
you didn't hurt me yet. No, I'm in good care. I
I think
told
you
you.
still have a cough or a sore throat, but
I feel like a sore throat coming on, and I'm a little freaked out because I am going on tour to play some anime cons in about a week, so I cannot get sick. Cannot get sick. So
I know that feeling so bad. I remember last year I went to Youmacon and 3 days after I got off the plane to get back home, I had to go to Anime Vegas, which was fine, but I felt it when I
did you
was
get the
on the
cred?
plane.
Did you
I
get the con cred?
almost like I warded it off with vitamin C. I was the worst when I was at the airport waiting for my mom to pick me up. I had to wait like 3 hours for her to pick me up. And legitimately, I was like sitting down, like shivering with the coat over me. And I was just like,
Mm.
can it end? Can I go home?
Yeah. Now, I have a question for you then,
Yeah.
since we're bringing up cons. Do you get like the post-con depression after you go to one? Because every time I go to a con, it's like, even if it was a total, like, I don't want to say total nightmare, but Okay, most of the time I have fun. Sometimes it's they're a little more challenging than others, but always when I get home, I'm stressed out and I'm tired. I'm glad to be home, and then about 12 hours later, I'm like, man, my real life sucks. I'm
Like you're
bored.
on this high, like you went to Disneyland or
Yeah.
something, and then you're like, God, I wish I could go back to Disneyland.
Yeah, well, I just remember like the last one I went to like something afterwards, like the grocery store, and I was like, why aren't people wearing cat ears? I
I mean,
don't,
I feel that too. Like at the same time, I really like getting back home and getting back on track with work because I have a lot of work to do at
uh,
home.
me
But
too.
when I have a long space in between conventions, that's when I start to be like, God, when is my next convention?
I
Like
know.
2, 3 months, and I'm kind of like, I need to leave the house. I haven't seen the sun in like 2, 3 months. I just stay inside with my little footsie pajamas.
Are you in footsie pajamas right now?
I totally am.
I'm jealous. I'm a little jealous.
It's dinosaur pajamas.
I need a kigurumi or something.
Go to a convention and DJ as a kangaroo.
You know, I DJ'd once in Rilakkuma kigurumi, and that I'm a big bear. Like it lasted like 5 minutes, and I was too hot, and I had to strip that thing off. It was I just couldn't do it. I'm a trooper, and I just couldn't do it. It was too warm. I'm DJing. I jump around a lot. I'm an
Mhm.
energetic performer, so I get pretty warm on stage.
I get it. I mean, we're not exactly the same type of performers because when we have our booth and we're live broadcasting from a convention,
Yeah.
at YomaCon, we had such big crowds that I was standing on top of chairs, I was bouncing off and down, I was screaming songs at the top of my lungs to get people to also sing along or dance.
You know.
Yeah, it's like it's constant too. It's like you got to keep going, you got to keep the energy high,
Yeah.
or else it's not going to go to other people. And it's so much fun, but at the end of the night, you're like, oh God, gonna have an aneurysm.
See, you're halfway there to being a DJ already. See, you've got that part down. It's half knowing how to actually mix songs live, and then half flailing your arms around and jumping around and looking like an idiot. That's
Well, looking like an idiot's the fun part to me.
yeah, totally. No, I agree.
But now for the listeners out there, there's obviously a Kickstarter that you guys just completed for
Two,
two of them.
two.
Were they right back to back or were they at the same time?
They were right back to back. Yeah. Yes. So we did one in December, January for a CD called Disco Warp Presents Hardcore Advance, and it's like a nonstop party mix of just the best of our material from the last couple years. So a lot of stuff. We released a lot of things in iTunes, and they're just kind of singles. So this kind of compiled a lot of it into just a really fun CD to listen to. It's really good for the car. It's all happy hardcore, Eurobeat, and hyper techno songs. And so, yeah, we kickstarted that, and that's out now. You can buy that on our website at discowarp.com. And then immediately after that one was over, we did another Kickstarter, which was also successful for our music video DVD with the incredibly long title Radio, Gosha, and Disco Warp Living a Colorful Life. And that has all of our music videos that are animated by Radio Gosha. So, Sexy Vampire, Less Than Three, Deadbeat Boyfriend, and I believe there's 4 other videos on there. It's a 2-disc set, so you get all the music videos and then a bunch of awesome remixes on the audio CD. So that's out now too. You can also pick that up on our website. And yeah, I'm currently trying to mail out everybody's Kickstarter stuff. We just got them from the manufacturer, and so I'm surrounded by cardboard boxes full of DVDs and mailing envelopes and stickers and buttons and tape and tears.
I do have to say one thing. If you think that's a long name, then you
Spreadsheets.
totally need to embrace more Korean and
Oh, I agree.
Japanese CD titles.
Well, we did a bonus disc. One of the CD Kickstarter did so well that I decided to do a remix disc that compiles like all the remixes I've done for my friends, like just stuff I've done for friends, because friends have bands and music projects. They're like, hey, Pete, can you do this remix? And I do it, and then it just sits there. So We decided to put them all on a disc, and you can get a copy of this for free just by buying anything from physical goods from our shop. But it is called Disco Warp presents Bakuhatsu OMG Remix Explosion Mega Friends Volume 1. So that's a little bit longer.
I remember I just tagged a CD like a month ago and put it in the station from Sony Music Japan that was like J. Ellison New Song Festival DJ Kazu's #1 Hearts Passion Mix. And I had to
Love it.
translate the name too.
Love it.
So I'm trying to think like how can I make this make sense
You
in
can't.
English and you can't. You can try as much as you want, but you're just not going to.
It's amazing. I love it. And
It's
it's got to have the like subtitle that's in between the tilde, the little wavy dash.
Oh no, I
Do you,
hate
do you
that.
know I love them.
No,
I
like
don't
I don't mind the tilde. I just hate when like there's stuff in between on top of that in like parentheses or something.
love it. I think it's great. I think the more strange ways you can demarcate the little, subtitles, I say go for it. I don't like when they have like the like titles have little smiley faces. Those are hard to type, and I also don't. When I'm like, I buy a Japanese CD and I put it in iTunes to rip it, and it like mixed case like titles that are uppercase and lowercase just randomly. I don't really understand that. That drives me crazy.
Oh, it drives me crazy too. Even if
Oh,
it's
so
the
bad.
like the band's name or something.
Yeah, I don't
I
care.
I have consistency on the radio because I'm in charge of adding music.
Thank you.
So I have to make everything like proper case. Like
Thank you.
unless I can't think of a way to do it. And I know there's one artist in Japanese that I just didn't know what to do with it.
Who is it?
It's like Jeal KB Jealkb. It's like backwards of a Japanese word romanized.
Well, that's undecipherable anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, you get things like CN blue, so it's
Sure.
C dot N dot blue, not CN blue or whatever. Like, I have to be very specific on what I'm
I'm
doing.
glad someone else is as OCD about that as I am. I'm punctuation, case, no, it's all going to be proper. Otherwise, it looks weird in my iTunes library. You know what else I don't like? Okay, I listen to a lot of K-pop. All the cover art for K-pop releases is like rectangular or like a vertical rectangle, or
Oh,
it's
you
like
have to
I
cut
don't.
them, yeah.
No, I don't. Well, I don't go that far. But I mean, like iTunes. Do you use the grid view ever in iTunes? Do you use iTunes?
I don't really use iTunes too much
You know,
because I tag everything manually. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, iTunes does this thing where it's got a grid view and it lines all your album cover art in this nice little grid, and it looks great until you get to the K-pop albums and it's like weird hexagons and like I don't know, everything's like origami shapes or something. It really bugs me. It messes up the grid completely.
I totally understand. I mean, we don't have the grid problem so much, but we can output what is being played and the cover. And
Sure. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
when the cover is like squished and stretched to fit into the norm,
Mhm.
it bugs me so much. So I end up cutting covers a lot to make them fit.
That's that's so much work, but I'm
It
glad
is.
someone does it.
I have
Let's
to.
stick to square cover art, everyone. I think we don't need to reinvent the cover.
Unless it's a special edition DVD, because usually there's like what do they call it? I know in Japan it's like version or type A, type B, type C, and then one of them
Sure.
is like the DVD special that's like a rectangle, but the other two are squares.
Right.
Just keep one of them a square. That's all I ask.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. Well, that's what we did. We did, we have the DVD, which comes in a digipack DVD style case, the tall one.
Mhm.
But we put the audio album in iTunes and we made a special square cover art for. It's not that hard.
Yeah, I
People
can
have
see it
Photoshop. I
on
don't
the
know why they don't.
Bandcamp right now.
Yeah, yeah. Made a square. I don't know why other people can't make a square. I don't know. It's driving me
Squares
crazy.
are hard. Shapes are hard, man.
Shapes are difficult.
They're
That's.
super difficult. Now, one
I'm
of
glad
the
you found Jackie.
I feel like I found somebody I can relate with because when I talk to the staff about this, they're like, "Well, I'm not that over the top with it."
Someone has to be. Without that order, we would have complete chaos. It would be total anarchy in J-pop land. We can't have that.
Exactly. I will say one of the interesting things that I saw that you guys also sell, which you happened to give us them was were the little cell phone charms.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Those
we
are
made it for this.
adorable.
Oh, thank you. The place that we had them made recently went out of business, so
No.
no. They were so cool, but they were those were originally a bonus item when we did Anime Live Hardcore 2 on Kickstarter. And God, they're so fun. They're so cute. I hang them on my Wii remotes, you know, they've got a little spot for the strap. Don't I never use the strap. Nobody uses the strap, but they all have disco warp charms hanging from them because what else you can do with that hole? But I don't know, I think the era of the phone charm might be over because smartphones don't really have the phone strap
Oh, I cheat.
slot.
Like I'm
Oh.
lame. I have a BlackBerry, so I cheat. But what I do, because this BlackBerries don't have phone straps and they never have, is I basically just take the battery cover off and I put a little bit of the I guess the thread in the battery, like behind the battery, so it stays in
What?
place. So I
That's
cheat.
genius. Okay.
Yeah, I have like a little snow hanging off my like from Final Fantasy 13 off my phone right now.
That's genius.
It's not supposed to do that, but I made it do it anyway.
Good on you.
So yes, if you have any sort of phone charm, you should cheat with your phone.
That's a great tip. Thank you.
I don't think your phone will mind.
No, probably not. It'll be better for it.
Well, now for the listeners who want to hear you do all this fun stuff live, what events do you have coming up?
Yeah, good question.
The list
Let
is
me look at
10
my
miles
calendar.
long.
It's not too long. So the next thing coming up is I will be at MTAC, the Mid Tennessee Anime Convention in Nashville, and that is on March 29th through the 31st. And I'm DJing there. I'm the headliner for the Saturday night rave, and I also have a booth all weekend. I'll be selling CDs. You can come hang out with me. Um, I'll try not to be sick by then. And also, I do some panels. I usually do a panel discussion about the music industry, and you can kind of pick my brain about selling your music online and iTunes, and I get to talk about all kinds of boring paperwork things that I find really exciting. So it's good information if you want to get started in the music industry. It's kind of hard to figure this stuff out on your own. So
I
I'm
know
doing
that
that also.
feels because
Yeah.
we have a panel that's like my life as a 91.8 The Fan DJ, and
Oh,
we
okay, great.
we
So
we give all the information, like all the boring stuff about like royalty companies and everything. And so by the time we get past that, some of the people have left because they're like, well, that's
mhm.
boring. But it's interesting for some people too because they don't know that. So
Yeah, and it's when I started, I had to just kind of figure out a lot of that stuff, trial and error, and do a lot of research. There's no good resource for it. So if I can answer questions for people and kind of share that information, then I guess it makes me feel like I haven't wasted my life. So um, I think it's fun. I don't know, but yeah, I usually preface it by saying we're about to talk about Excel spreadsheets. So if you don't think that that's fun, you're in the wrong panel. Um, so I'm doing Tennessee, and then the next weekend after that, I'm playing TekoshoCon in Pittsburgh, and I'm actually playing that with Christina V. So I'll be doing a DJ set there, and then I'll be DJing for to support Christina V, doing a live set, singing live.
awesome. So now the fans can stalk you in real life and hopefully not breathe on you if they're sick.
I sure hope so, and hope not.
I was about to say you hope they do.
No, I hope they stalk me. I hope they don't breathe on me. Yeah.
That's
I'm
fine.
trying to think of any of the other ones. I guess those are the only ones that I have 100% confirmed that I can announce right now. But there will be others. And you can always in the fall you can always come to Portland and see me at KimuraCon in Portland, Oregon, because I'm always there. So
Well, for the fans who want to, keep up to date on what you're doing, can they stalk you on Facebook and Twitter as well?
yeah, totally. DiscoWarp.com has links to all of that in the upper right hand corner. You can check out our. It's pretty much just Disco Warp, DISKOWARP on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook. You can just stalk us, say hey, yell at me. I don't know, just do whatever.
You'll know you're there if you find a very cute skull staring into your soul.
Yeah, yeah, we've been rocking this Candy Skull and Crossbones logo since 2005, and it's it was my mission to kind of give the label a really strong branding that people could recognize instantly. I think it works. So you'll know Disco Warp stuff when you see that skull because we put it on absolutely everything. I actually was at a party. My friends here in Seattle, they run a all J-pop and K-pop monthly dance party called JK-pop, and it's on the first Thursday at Barboza. And I was there a couple months ago, and I ran into a guy wearing a Disco Warp T-shirt, and he didn't know who I was, which was hilarious to me. It was great, and I didn't know who he was, so I just walked up to him and I was like, "Hey, nice shirt." And he goes, "Thank you. Are you a Disco Warp fan?" And I said, "Yeah."
Please tell me you admitted who you were.
No, I did not. I just high fived him and
Dang it.
just moved on. I don't know. That doesn't happen very often. I thought uh, I'd enjoy the moment.
Well, I like it because it goes with the style of everything else, your CD
Thanks.
covers and everything else. So it's easy to recognize what comes from you guys.
Yeah, for sure. I try to make sure everything that we send out looks good and looks consistent. It's just packaging is really important to me. I mean, I'm a designer too, on top of being a producer, and so if you can put it out and then you have a surface to decorate, you might as well make it look awesome. There's no excuse for bad cover art. I see it all the time, and it makes me furious.
You see the stick figures made in paint.
Yes.
It's not fun.
Or just like it's a band and it just looks like the photo was taken with like a cell phone. It's
An Instagram photo. Those are nice.
There's so many good artists. There's so many great artists. There's so many that I guess if I was going to send anybody away with a message, if you make your own music or you run you have a project and putting music out, find an artist that you like on DeviantArt or something and approach them about doing the cover. Find it, make friends with the designer and pay them some money, and it'll be worth it to make your stuff look better. Just don't, you know?
No, I understand. I will keep that in mind for the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now, since we're nearing the end of this interview, we have a tradition here on 91.8 The Fan, and I'm
Oh,
wondering
sure.
if you'd be willing to participate.
Yeah, as long as you're not going to ask me about anime, because
Are you like me? Do you watch maybe one anime every 6 months?
yeah, I don't have time.
I know that feel. I know that feel, Brosidon, King of the Broshin. So
Yeah. What do you got?
basically, we ask everyone if they'd be willing to do a radio bump for us.
Oh, sure. What do I have to say?
Basically, we ask if you could say, "Hello, my name is," you insert your name. I do this. You can insert you're a DJ or whatever you want. And you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan. I totally know you're typing.
I totally typed it.
It's okay. Many people write it down or type it.
Oh boy, I'm gonna do this for you on the request that I can do it over again later when I don't have a sore throat because I sound awful. But I'm totally gonna do it.
That is totally fine.
Just right now, you're recording. This is
Yes.
good. Okay. Hey, this is Initial P from Disco Warp Music, and you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
See, that wasn't so hard.
Did it sound okay?
Yeah, that sounded great.
All right.
So now, for the listeners out there, is there any parting words you want to leave them with? Any dating advice? Any words of wisdom?
Dating. You're gonna ask me for dating advice at the end.
Why not?
Dating advice.
Or you could just tell them what the weather is like today. Be a news forecaster.
I'm in Seattle, and you don't even want to know what the weather is like up here today. I'll give you dating advice instead. Here's my new tip. Don't try to set up the second date while you're still on the first date.
That sounds like a business transaction.
No, I know, but because it happens to me all the time, and it's like, let me go home first and process whether or not I actually had a good time. If the person likes you, you're gonna text each other. It's gonna be great. Just don't be like, oh, I had a really good time. Let me come over to your house and use your hot tub. Like, don't do that. Just let the second date, happen. That's my advice.
Well, I have to give you props because not many of our guests actually give us dating advice. They avoid that question altogether. So
I've got dating advice for days. I could write a zine about it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me, Jackie. I had a good time.
And for any of the listeners out there that missed any of this interview, don't sweat it. You can catch it on the website at 918thefan.com in the next few days. So keep your eyes peeled to the website and your ears tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't.